All right. Well, thank you, Brother Chris, and welcome to everybody from the Writer's Wordshop here on The Voice 17104 Harrisburg. And I'm so glad to always have this opportunity to, speak with you. And this is Black History Month. Let us always remember that we're honoring those who have come before us, those who are with us, and those yet to come. We are honoring Black History Month. Why? Because our history in many different ways has been lost, stolen, or strayed, and also it's been mischaracterized. A lot of times people talk about our history as if we were just simply slaves and then we became something, right? Well, we were, Africans and people from various different parts of the world with African, parts of Africa in us. So we were part of the diaspora. And of course, we have a unique history as African Americans. We were taken from Africa and brought here by and large, and many of us have grown here. I've only known the United States of America as in terms of living, but I do know my ancestors came from the continent. Have done my research there and all that good stuff. And we were literally called uh, 3/5 of a human being, 1/10 of a human being, all kinds of stuff. We were called a shadow. We were enslaved people. They called us slaves. We called everything but human. We were denied the right to read and write at one time. Can you imagine that? Yeah, all kinds of stuff has happened. But here we stand. Thanks be to God that we have, overcome a lot and we are still intact. And we had some genius to come up out of that struggle. And, we're not unique in struggle, by the way. Our struggle is unique, but many, many, many people from different cultures have struggled in their own way. I think about the Chinese building the railroad of America, and from the Pacific coast all the way, to halfway in America, and then never getting any credit for it, being interned and captured once the war broke out. They literally put them in camps, so that they wouldn't do harm to America, quote unquote. I think about many of our brothers and sisters from Puerto Rico and all that they endured and continue to endure, and just all over the world. Every group of people has a story to tell about their struggle to become who they are, and all of us have experienced some struggle. Let's just be honest about it. But this is our time to talk about our struggle and how it is. And by the way, our Jewish brothers and sisters who are being attacked a lot lately, let's stand tight with them. Let's understand that we may have our differences in some levels at some time or another in our history, but as a people, and with all people, really, we have to stand together and overcome those differences and make sure that we don't allow anybody to become discriminated against, murdered for sure, and treated as if they're not people and if they're not citizens of this great country or of the world, wherever they're from. So let's keep that in mind. Let's make sure that we stand together on those issues. We may have some differences about this or about that, but nothing should divide us so greatly that we turn on one another or ignore the plight of one another. That's just the way it is. So this is Black History Month, and we are celebrating Black history. I do want to mention this book of mine that I will be featuring. It's my latest little project, and it is a testament to our history. And these are articles that I've written mostly in the Black Wall Street. I hope that you're picking up the Black Wall Street as you see it out there. These are stories of African American struggles and achievements that feed the soul. And again, these are a lot of the articles that I've written and that kind of thing. And as you can see, it's I don't know if you can see that or not. Okay, pages chock full of great stuff, a lot of great stories as far as I'm concerned. And these are stories about real people. And that's the other thing. It has some poetry in it, or some, I call it spoken word, as well as real stories and articles that are written. I'm in the process of finishing some articles for March issue, and I'm looking forward to seeing March out. Hats off to the family that is putting it all together. Bishop Dallas and Jenny Dallas and their daughter. Now, I'm sorry, I don't have her name, and I will get the paper and make sure I have her name up as well, because they're doing a great job. And the paper is not large or anything like that, but it is there. It's impactful, and it feeds our soul. That's what it's all about. So hats off to the Dallas family for giving us another reason to celebrate as a people. We have the Black Wall Street newspaper here in central Pennsylvania. And, there's a void. We had, for the longest time, Vera Cornish until she passed. She was doing a newspaper, and it was something that people look forward to, receiving. It was Urban Connection, that was the name of it. And she would always try to keep us informed of what's coming up. The Black Wall Street has actual articles, more than just, and so did the Urban, Connection had articles, but it did a lot of talking about what was coming up and that kind of thing. And so, that void's being filled, and it's needed and necessary. The Black newspapers in the United States have a wonderful role that they've played for years. It helped us to stay informed and to understand what was happening to us and to connect as a people all across this country. So the Chicago Defender, the New York Amsterdam News, the Philadelphia Tribune, the Afro-American, Baltimore and Washington, and it goes on down the line, the Pittsburgh Courier, and there's so many other African newspapers that are out there. And at one point they begin to disappear because our community, literally, we're not reading them or supporting them the way we should. But keep in mind that when a periodical comes out, when a newspaper comes out, when a magazine comes out that features our community, our culture, we got to support it, because that's why it was created, to inform us, to showcase us, and to let people know who we are and what we're all about. It's a cultural thing. And when we don't support it, then how can we expect anyone else to support it, right? So, please pick up these papers when you see them, read them and then share them with others. I see where Ebony Magazine is still out and going strong. It's not as big as it used to be, but I just saw where someone was just featured in Ebony. So I'm like, oh, okay, I got to pick that up and find out where it is. It's not as big as it used to be and has the kind of, a following that it used to have, but we should never, ever forget what Ebony did for us as a people during the civil rights movement and even today. And, we lost Jet Magazine. Someone said that you might still be able to get some of those things online. They just, publish it online. I don't know if that's true or not, but the Sepia Magazine and so many others, the Afro-American, different things that are out there, got to support those things. Anyhow, this is the Writers' Wordshop. Every Friday night we come on, and we have some exciting things coming up. This coming Sunday, the 19th, we will be over at the State Museum of Pennsylvania, and that's located at 300 North Street in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And thank you, Brother Chris. He's bringing up our poster. There it goes. Keeping the culture alive, celebration of honoring those who preserve our history and always say our culture, on Sunday, February the 19th, from 1 p.m. until 4 p.m. And it's a free program. Mostly everything we do is free. And also during that program, we will be honoring 5 individuals and also 5 families. Some of the individuals that we'll be honoring are Claude Lewis, attorney Claude Lewis, who is just an outstanding gentleman, big time, contributor to our community, history buff, has been into many, many things. Organization-wise, he was a great poet, and he was one of our poet laureates for the city of Harrisburg, and he wrote about African-American people and culture and things like that. So we're honoring him for his breadth of work that he's done, and his wife, Robin. Both of them were together in the struggle, and both of them were attorneys, and both of them contributed mightily to our community and still do. Brother Claude does. Robin has since passed on to become one of our ancestors, but her spirit is still with us. Now we're honoring Caleb Jackson, the great, he's a historian without approach. He's a great historian, and he certainly knows a lot of African-American history of the Harrisburg area and just African-American history in general. And he's a man up in age now and still going strong, thanks be to God. And he's willing to come out, and we're going to lift him up, Brother Caleb Jackson. What a great historian he is. And also we have Brian Wade. Brian Wade, in his own way, is a historian. He said he's really not a historian, but he's someone who has preserved the culture. He has a thing called the Keystone Oral History Project, where he's lifting up African-American soldiers who have served. And he's done a great job of that. He's really kept that thing alive for a number of years now. And he's honoring people, brothers and sisters who have served in the military. And at one time, you remember our military was separated. We we were not integrated until like, I think the 1940s or so. And so Brother Brian Wade, we lifted up. Hey man, what's on? Brother Neil, how you doing, man? Good seeing you.
How you doing, Nate?
Right, good, man. Glad to see you, brother. I was
Yeah.
just talking about what's going to happen on Sunday, man. We're doing our program on Sunday. We're honoring some 5 individuals and 5 families. I mentioned Brian Wade. I mentioned Claude Lewis. I mentioned Caleb Jackson. Also got to lift up Linwood Sloan. Linwood Sloan is a true historian. Boy, I mean, this guy's like a walking dictionary of African-American history. He's also someone who was really push the enactors. I mean, he puts on tells history with people actually dressing up in the period piece, and then they literally kind of get out there and and they stay in character. They never come out of character, and they have put on major events honoring historical figures of history in the Pennsylvania period, but especially African American history. We're also honoring Dr. Larry Pickens. Dr. Pickens happens to be the current president of the executive director, I guess, of the Pennsylvania Council of Churches. He's out of Chicago. The brother has been on the front lines with the Jesse Jacksons of the world and all the other folks out there who've been marching and doing their thing. And he's a historian too, and he writes. He's writing something on the Black family right now, and as we speak, finishing up a project. But when you talk to him, you realize this brother's reach is well beyond. He's just been in Harrisburg, I think, about maybe 3 or 4 years, but he's been all over the world, and he's someone who's really lifted up the culture. And so we definitely going to honor Dr. Pickens. As far as families are concerned, we're honoring the Brunson family. Copper Brunson happens to be the president of the state NAACP AXO program. He's been running that thing since the 1990s and lifting up our culture. This brother's traveled to Ghana, traveled to Egypt. He's taken his whole family. He takes his family on these trips, and they've always been into it. And he can talk on almost any subject when it comes down to African-American history, ancient as well as civil rights, as well as today. Just a walking knowledge. He worked some 39 to 40 years in the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission and was second in command to the iconic director there who, retired. And then Brother Cobble, who we all thought should have gotten that position, did not get it, but he retired, and but it is what it is. But he's made his mark. So we're honoring his entire family because his entire family has been involved in the civil rights movement, especially through the NAACP and the AXO. His one daughter, Damali, she graduated from Westchester State College, has a master's degree. She's a great writer, and she's sort of second in command when it comes down to the AXO. His other daughter, Amira, she actually participated in AXO and, won locally as far as a gold medal, and then went and participated nationally. And she is a very bright, very beautiful. The whole family is a very, powerful family. And then his wife, Makita, who has been really the backbone to all of this. Makita has been with him. They've been married for, I guess, about 40 years or so. And, she's been with him every step of the way as far as AXO is concerned. And she's an educator herself and someone who's worked in human services. So rounding that family for what they've done. They've done it consistently, constantly. The James family, Richard James, Brother Richard James, has an African store as we speak. And he's an African drummer. He's up in his 80s now, and he's been doing it forever. He is a man who's held many positions, state government, but also he's held his store, the African clothing store, and drums and all that kind of stuff. Amari's place. He's had so many different places. But anyhow, he's been a consistent fixture at our Kwanzaa programs. He's a poet and writes African American poetry, African poetry. His daughter happens to be Maria James Chow, and she married a brother from Senegal, and I was fortunate enough to perform the wedding ceremony for them, and it was a spectacular wedding. And Maria is a master poet. We've had her here on the Writers Workshop before. She's been a professor at Central Penn College for 18, 20 years or so. She went on to become also a professor with the CASA organization, Capital Area Student Arts Organization, and now she's out on her own, doing her own thing. She's studied in Paris. She's done poetry all over the place. She has a number of books out, and she's a fixture. She's one of the great poets in this area anyhow, but she's a master teacher. So we're really glad to have her, and she's the daughter. And then their mother was one of our storytellers. She told a part of her historical piece as she escaped out of the South. We didn't know her history, and she got up and spoke for us about 2 years ago and just brought the house down. Her name is Mary James, and she comes from a distinguished family and has been a part of the scene. She's a AKA, I believe, and she's also with all these other Links organization, which is an African American organization of women and all of that. So and then they just have done so much. But anyhow, so the other families we're lifting up too are the Carey family. Paul Carey was finishing his doctorate at Temple University in African Studies. He is very good, close to Dr. Malife Asante, and we all know he's written probably about 125 books at this point on Africa and African history. He actually created this African Studies program there at Temple University, and he's called the father of Afrocentrism. And so his brother Paul Carey is now one of the ancestors. He passed away about a year and a half ago. It's about, close to a year ago. And anyhow, he also, his wife, Yolanda, and him created what's called Sankofa 21. And they were teaching young people in this area for years about Africa and African American history. He had his own broadcast programs. He had traveled to the continent. His daughter also just finished her degree at Harrisburg University. She did a lot of the videography for them and all that. And now she's doing great stuff. After Paul passed away, they moved back to Yolanda and Yasmin, the daughter. They moved back to Indianapolis, Indiana, where they currently reside, and they're doing great stuff out there. They met up with an African sister from Nigeria, who's a top-notch photographer, who just did a major project on African and African-American women. And they were both featured in that project. And so they're doing great stuff, continue to lift up our culture. And, we just can't say enough about that family. I'm probably going to miss somebody here. I should have had my notes in front of me. But anyhow, those are the quality of people we're lifting up. And I will give you the other two families before we're off. The Dobb family, let me just say them since they just popped in my mind. Michael Dobb literally is a collector of what we call enslavement paraphernalia. If you want to see something, you got to see what this guy has put together. He went all up and down the East Coast. He stumbled on it by accident. He went to this little country store and happened to see this piece. And he asked the guy, well, what is this? And the guy said, well, and he started telling him the history of it, a white guy. And he said, this is the kind of stuff that he said, in fact, if you go up and down the East Coast and a lot of these little small towns, a lot of stuff is preserved. And that's exactly what he did. Not only did he go and collect it, he actually has now boxed it up. It's so nicely encased. It's been featured at Penn State University. It's been featured at Messiah College. It's been featured at the Pennsylvania Black Conference on Higher Education. And it was actually asked to be a part of the African American Museum that opened about 4 or 5 years ago in DC. He decided to hold on to it because they wanted to, if he agreed to it, they were going to take it for X amount of years and this and that. That's the way they do those things. And he just felt like he still wanted to hold on to it. But anyhow, it's a magnificent display. He's had it at our church before. He's had it at our programs at the State Museum. And it's quite a project to bring it in because it's so much. But he's a master storyteller of those pieces. He's a great historian. And his wife, Ruby Dobb, joined in with him. And they're also their daughter, who's a graduate of Harvard University. And she has her PhD now. And so they together have just been incredible in terms of keeping our culture together, our history. And then also Ruby, his wife, created a film on Black families here in central Pennsylvania and displayed that. They also brought to us Harry Jones. Harry Jones was the greatest historian I've ever met in my life. I didn't know this guy. And then he comes to Harrisburg from DC, and he was someone who had his own little museum down in DC. And he, really studied African people who served in the Civil War. And then from there, he just took off into African-American history. And he came into Harrisburg, man. And when people started discovering this guy, brought that out. And then, God called him home. God was only in his 50s, too. And God called him home. So anyhow, those are the quality of people we're lifting up. I know I'm missing one family, and get back to that family and let you know who that is, because I have my phone right here in front of me, and we'll make sure it happens. But that's what we're doing. Sunday afternoon from 1 to 4. It's all free, and it's here at the State Museum of Pennsylvania, and it's going to be a great time. And it's from 1 to 4. It's free. We're going to have great vendors and great poets and speakers and singers and all that. Okay? Okay. Hey, listen, my man Neil Owens has just joined me, and I'm so glad to see Brother Neil. Neil's one of our great, novelists. He's put out some really good work, and he's been sharing it with us for the last few years here on the Writers Workshop. So I'm so glad he's on tonight. And he stepped away for a second, but I'm sure he'll be right back. And we're going to talk about, his writings and also just the process of writing. And want to encourage you to write. And don't forget too that there's a lot of other programs going on, not just what's happening with the Writers Workshop, a lot of things. And the last thing I'm going to say before I introduce you to Neil Owens is that next Saturday, which is the 25th, it's 25th from 10 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. will be the African American Read-In, sponsored by the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority at Stilton High Spire Elementary School. This is an annual event. They bring in African American authors and also books that I just have never seen in my life. So they really go out and do the homework all year long. And they show you and showcase all these African American writers, especially children's books are really highlighted that are being published and produced and that we should know about. So anyhow, that's going to happen next Saturday. It's a free event, by the way, as far as I know. And I'm going to be there as one of the authors, and I'm happy to do so. And that's going to take place next Saturday, the 25th, down at Stilton Elementary. Brother Neil, how you doing, man? You're muted right now, brother. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how you doing, Nate? Good to see you.
Good, man. Doing good. Good seeing you, man. Yeah, brother. I know you got something cooking. What's cooking down that way?
Yeah, I'm just staying busy, man. I'm working real hard on the new book and still being patient before I release my next book.
Right on.
So I'm just keep just grinding real hard,
Yeah. I followed you on Facebook a few times and see that you got some pieces up there giving people a little tease of what's
yeah.
I like it, man. Yeah. And by the way, folks, I highly recommend you read his books. Really, he shared a lot with us on here on Facebook, and he's just a very good writer, master writer. So please check him out. Let me show you my little project here, brother. This just brought this out. It's African American stories, and it's stories of African American struggle and also achievements. And, it's just a lot of the writings that I put together over the last year and a half or so, coming out of the Black Wall Street newspaper. And so I decided to put them in the compilation so people could kind of have them. And I'm going to, kind of debut them on Sunday and lift the book up. But I'm really glad my daughter actually put this together for me. Our daughter, Terry Martinez, who's a great writer and also publishing. She has what's called T-Dub Publishing. She's our official publisher for the Writers Workshop, and I'm really pleased with this product here, man. So that's my latest little offering to the world, if you will, of literary works. Yeah, man. So it's Black History Month. That's what we're kind of focusing on. What's going on down your way? You're in North Carolina. What's happening in Black History Month?
Well, they haven't. There's a lot of little segment things going on for writers and different little things happening in Black history as far as promoting Black authors and artists, and then also talking about some of the Black historical moments. Yeah. And one thing they had this. Have you seen the Will Smith movie, his latest movie?
No, I wanted to watch that. I forgot about it. I know it's on what's it on Hulu or something, or
I seen it on I seen the video on I seen the movie on a different thing. It's called Viewmore.
Okay.
I saw it. This is the one he was a slave.
Yeah.
It's about that. Yeah, it's about that story. It's a true story about the slave who we've all seen the portraits of him, who has all those. You see that picture of the slave who had all these marks. He just got the back of him.
Oh, that's what it's about.
All those marks on him.
Oh, I didn't know that's what it's about. Okay.
Yeah, it's about him. Yeah,
okay.
It's the story of him, and that's a powerful story, man.
I gotta see that.
Yeah, you definitely have to see that movie. That is a very, very powerful movie.
I'm so glad you remind me, man, because I was on it. I was going to check it out and everything, and I got it. And I started watching, but my wife and I were busy doing something. I forgot it, so I got to get back to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't remember the name of it though, right?
Gosh.
I see him running. I can see it in my. I see it in my.
I'll put it up, man. I don't know why I keep forgetting it, but I can give it to you real quick.
Okay. In
before the
fact, let me
people
just say it
go
this
with.
way, because Chris is a master with this stuff. Brother Chris, I don't know if you are hearing this, but there's a movie out, Will Smith, and it's on like one of the cable stations, one of those, what do you call them? Not cable, but yeah, cable stations. And it's his latest movie out with Will Smith, and he's a slave. And if you could maybe pull that up, if
That
you,
latest
I know
movie,
you work
man.
magic,
I can't think
brother.
what the name
Yeah,
of
I
that
want to
movie.
see that, man. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Oh man, you definitely have to see that movie. I mean, if he hadn't slapped
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock, man, he probably been nominated again for another award, man.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He was really strong in that movie. That's a real good movie, man. It showed it really showed, and I know the guy. He was I ain't gonna talk about. You just have to watch it.
Yeah, I definitely do. And there's so much good stuff out there right now. I was checking out, and I got to finish the 1619 project. If you haven't seen that, please do. That's on Hulu. And man, she has, I think it's 6 segments. I believe I've seen 4 of them at this point. But you're talking about history, and she interviews a number of people. She, of course, has the video and all that stuff. But the sister brought out the book 1619 Project, won the Pulitzer Prize, and now she has the video thing going. Like I said, it's about 6 segments, and it's really well worth it, brother. I'm telling you, check it out. Everyone I know have watched it at this point, and so I've only seen the first 4, but there's so much to watch out there these days. I keep flicking around, getting this, getting that, But brother Chris is bringing something up for us. There it goes. Look at it.
Yeah, that's it, Emancipation. Yeah, that's it.
Emancipation. Okay.
Yeah, that's
This
it,
is
man.
it.
That's it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Chris. Yeah, man.
That's powerful. That's
Emancipation.
powerful movie, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had the I was hesitant to check out that movie, Emmett Till, that movie
Yeah.
Till.
Mm-hmm.
So one day I started, I said, let me just check this thing out.
Yeah.
And I turned it off, man.
Mm-hmm.
I turned it off in the early stages of it, probably only went 15 minutes or whatever.
Why?
Because the way they portrayed the guy, man, the way they portrayed Emmett Till, as though he was really guilty of what he did. I was like, who made this movie? I thought this was a movie made, influenced the mother and everybody. I thought it was, I really thought it was a black movie, man. But but no, man, it was like it was wild.
I will tell you, there was one on before that, right? There was another Emmett Till movie made, and my wife and I saw it and thought it should have been in theaters and everything. It was powerful. It was fantastic. Yeah. And I guess, did we see that on like maybe HBO or something like that? But anyhow, it is so far superior to this one, to the one you're referring to. We turned it off as well. But we turned it off because the first one that we saw was so much better. And I remember sitting there watching, so I went back and started watching some more of it with my wife, because we were like, this what? And it just wasn't the quality, I didn't think. And then the acting and all that. But different people were giving it kudos and all that. I'm like, what's this all about? Because that is not a superior movie compared to the one that was out before. And it was out only like maybe 6 months before this particular one. So I don't know why they do that. Why you have 2 different groups making the movie of the same subject matter like that. But I wasn't impressed at all either first. And then I had to go back and watch it a bit more. And I couldn't get out my mind that the first one was just so much better. And it didn't depict him that way, like you said.
Yeah.
It didn't depict him with all that craziness. And I'm thinking,
man, what the heck? I mean, I guess that was put out there. That was really put out to shoot him down, man, to make it justifiable and all this kind of. I mean, it was just wow, man. It was. I don't even know how. I don't know how anybody could be. Because I think because black people say check out Till. I mean, I'm like, what the heck you talking about? Check this out.
Yeah. Some people were really lifting it up, man. I mean, I was reading some of the reviews and stuff like that. I don't know, not that many, but I did read some, and they were. But of course, sometimes these are people who are behind it, right? And they
Right.
gave that money, and so they're trying to push it. But I will tell you, I got to find out the name of the first Emmett Till movie that was out, and I'm telling you, that's the one you want to see.
Yeah.
Just really well done, powerful, and probably more true. I'm not probably more true to life to what really happened, than this thing that they're trying to push on us now. The other one that kind of got me was the Tuskegee Airmen, the one that the boy did, the one who did Star Wars. What's his name? Is that George Lucas or someone like that? I don't know. But anyhow, he did the movie.
I didn't see the Tuskegee. I didn't see that.
Yeah, that one came out years ago, and he married this guy I'm talking about, Lucas. He married, if it's George Lucas, he married the black woman Dobson, who was the financier, and she's much younger than he is, it looked like to me. But anyhow, they talked about this movie, and I'm like, okay, and then when I saw it, I thought, man, really? This is how they're portraying the Tuskegee Airmen, and they had one love story in there, just one, all these guys, he's the only one that had any interest in a woman. I'm like, okay. And she got to be white, I'm like, okay, what is this? Oh, man. And it just was so lightweight,
Yeah.
I was not impressed. So anyhow, but there's been other adaptations that are much better and stronger, more true to life than what these guys really went through. I always think about my man Cornel West when he said about Nelson Mandela, the Santa Clausification. He said they're trying to turn Nelson Mandela into Santa Claus. He said that man was a revolutionary.
Right. That's right.
This thing twisted.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. That's exactly what he was.
Revolutionary. He was out there.
Hardcore revolutionary too.
Hardcore. And yeah, he came out and he said, okay, we're going to have the Truth and Reconciliations, but he made them tell the truth. That's the part that people miss. And then when we were in South Africa, the guy said, he said, don't sleep on the fact that some of these guys told the truth. The truth was so horrible. He said, one guy got life in prison. He said, they told him now. He said, you got to tell the truth. He said, if you don't tell the truth, we're going to have to deal with you. But they got up there, they told the truth. And then, they dealt with him with however well they could. But when they told the truth and the truth was so horrible, they went to prison, plain and simple. Now, a lot of people's like, oh, we should have sent them all to prison. We should have did this. We should have shot them, And Nelson's like, I ain't trying to tear the country apart, but I am going to say it to you. You got to tell the truth. And that's what he did. So anyhow, and he was old too. I mean, he was, he got out, he's close to 90. He did the best he could do. But yeah, man, he was no Santa Claus. That brother was serious, That brother was serious. Yeah, so anyhow. But I'm glad you saw that Till and that you felt that way, because that's the way I felt. Now, other people, folks, if you like the movie and you want to see the movie, that's fine. I'm not trying to tell you don't see it. But I will say, see the first version that probably came out in 2021, maybe, something like that, at the beginning of 2022. Much, 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 much more powerful, more realistic, better acting as far as I'm concerned. It was just real good. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I have to check that out, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because that last one, Till was disappointing.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Worst time.
Yeah, but we can always watch who's making the movies. I mean, if they have an agenda, they may have an agenda, brother. That's what I say. Yeah. We had two Black Supreme Court men sitting there. One was Thurgood Marshall. One was, my boy, the current dude is there, Clarence. They're both Black, but two different perspectives on life, brother.
Yeah.
So, Till.
I mean, it's just like, something wrong. I mean, it's just like something is feeding unto us. If you talk about Black history, man, like those 5 Black officers in Tennessee, man, who killed that brother. Yes. I mean, can you think? I mean, Black.
Yes.
Black, man.
Yeah. But they feel like they're blue more than Black.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just speaking for them. I know I shouldn't do that. But
that's what they came off, man. Yeah. And even in that whole mentality that they carried on with that, it's like, they are strictly just Black on the outside, man.
Absolutely, man. I mean, these guys, and then they had a special force that they set up, so that really they thought they were the cream of the crop.
Yeah,
they could do anything they wanted to do. And then think about this: how many guys did they beat up before this guy died?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, how many did they beat before him?
Yeah,
I mean, 'cause this,
unbelievable,
like I
man.
said, they have done it before.
Oh yeah, they definitely did it before.
Yeah,
And then all of them today pleaded not guilty.
yeah,
They all come in with masks on. Everyone else in the courtroom didn't have no mask on. They're the only ones that had masks on. They come in, didn't even show their face, and then the mother of the brother who died said they never even looked at me. They couldn't look at me. You know, I mean, you brothers, man, you black men from the community. You see all this here, Black Lives Matter. You know what our history's been. You get the opportunity to have power and do something to make change, and this is what you do.
yeah.
You know, kill a man like that. You
Just
know,
kill a man like that,
kill
man.
a man. Yeah. And the brother didn't have any gun on him. He didn't have.
Nothing,
Come
man.
on, man.
Nothing.
You
It's just
know.
terrible, man. It's just
Yeah,
terrible.
it is. It is.
You know.
But as writers, we have got to, think about these things and lift them up. If we don't tell the story from the proper perspective, who will, right? And so,
Right.
yeah. So there are a lot of people who tell the story. They showed the other day. That was this morning, I believe. Yeah, this morning they showed this guy, and they were talking about what was it? Because the whole thing was, it made it sound like they were going to be speaking about civil rights, but they basically were putting down, the black community and saying that, we pretty much deserve what we're getting, kind of thing. I'm trying to, I'll put it together because I know I saw it and I was sitting there like, what? And they were showing it specifically for that reason. It's like, can you believe this guy said that? But yeah, we can believe it. We know guys like him. And this was a white guy in power. There was two of them. And they were throwing out some stuff. And first it started off like you're thinking, oh, they're talking about, no, that's not what they're talking about at all. They're making it sound like, shoot, yeah, well, they should have been shot, Are you serious? Yeah, they're serious. Yeah,
That's deep, man. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'll get that together in terms of what it was. But man, it is, hey, welcome to Black History Month.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Black History Month, man.
Mhm.
Huh.
And we're not all telling the story, from a perspective of truth. A lot of times we're telling the story because we're gatekeepers. And when I say we, I'm talking about the collective we as a people. Some folks actually see themselves as, speaking for the white man, speaking for and not all white people are against black people. I'm trying to say that at all. Please don't get me wrong. There are a lot of white people who fought for civil rights for all people, especially for black people. And that goes way back. If you even look at the civil rights movement in the 60s and you see all the marches, you see a whole bunch of white folks out there marching with us. By the way, Black Lives Matter, when that thing erupted over George Floyd, a whole bunch of people took to the street, and they weren't all black either. Whole bunch of white folks, whole bunch of Hispanics, everybody took to the streets, Asians, And of course, they tried to start showing all other ways of discord and, tear that apart. But the coalition was strong, So it's not always just about color. It's about perspective.
Right.
About perspective, man. This some white cats will tell it more closely and more realistically than some black guys will.
That's right. That's right.
Wait a minute. Yeah,
Yeah. Ain't no getting around that. That's sound. That's true, man.
It's true.
That's why we can't be sitting around being a point where we're gonna hate all white people.
Yeah.
You can't get to that level, man.
No.
We had a lot of white people, man, put their lives online to save blacks in slavery.
From the beginning, absolutely.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
Right.
And that's just the truth. And we had some blacks who decided to betray us. I go back to that movie, what was it? Jamie Foxx played him. He was a slave and then he was released. Him and this white guy went around. Django. Man, if you see the betrayal of Samuel L. Jackson when he played that role.
That was Clarence Thomas.
Oh my goodness, that guy.
He looked just like Clarence Thomas.
Yes. But he played it so well.
Yeah, man.
Oh my goodness.
Should have gotten an award for that performance.
He should have, man. I'm telling you, he got a black award, that's for sure. I'm sure every black person's like, yep, you nailed it. Because we go to some folks like that,
man. Yeah.
Man, and we call them the gatekeepers, man. Oh my goodness. And I love when I saw Pearly Victorious written by Ossie Davis. And we actually put the play on down in college when I was in college. And that's the first role that Sherman Hemsley played that made him big. And it was on Broadway. And he played Gitlow. And Gitlow was a slave. And the slave owner was old Captain Kachapee. And when old Captain Kotzebue said he was sick, Gitlow said, "We sick, Master? Are we sick?" Master said, "Yeah, we sick." And he said, "Oh, Lord, we all sick." Gitlow, you the slave, you're not sick. The master said, "Oh, well, when the master's sick, I'm sick too." Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. That's the way it was running. Is that Ro Brady?
Hey.
Hey, so glad you joined us. We needed
How you doing, bro?
We needed a butterfly in this ointment here. Good to see you.
I just looked up, I've been busy with the script. We have rehearsal tomorrow. And
Oh
there's
boy.
things I have to give the cast tomorrow. So it's like, okay.
All right.
Uh,
Tell everybody what you're talking about.
Talking about the hair story that Maria Chow James has written. It's amazing. Our production is going to be at the Gamma Theater here in Harrisburg in May. So we are underway. We just started our first table. Well, we had our table read last night, and we start rehearsal. So yeah.
Fantastic. So you have your cast solidified?
Actually, we still need an ivory man.
An ivory man?
Yes. See,
Okay.
now, well, you're familiar with choreo poems.
Yes.
And you know how all the pieces are very fluid and nobody has a particular name. So they're all very similar to the rain when the
Color
rain,
girls.
yes, Color Girls When the Rainbow Is Enough.
Mhm.
We've got Amber Woman, Ebony Man, those types of names. So
That's
we are
excellent.
looking for a ivory man, which would be a white man.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I'm sure you're going to find them to keep the casting going.
Yeah.
The
So
casting
I
going.
kind of have to be sort of fluid with my pronouns at this point. So
Yeah.
I need to make sure that I let the cast know that we do have an ivory woman who may have to transform into an ivory man at one point. So
Yeah. I remember
kind
you
of,
said that last week. That's cool.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
kind of need to be aware of that if it changes, but just so that they have all that information, because I don't like to make get everybody to a point where they're starting to feel comfortable with the script and all of a sudden you make those changes. It's just kind of like, your brain has to.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Yeah.
I know I watched something with Spike Lee and how he did his movies, and one of the things he did, especially back in the heyday when he was really, producing and stuff, he said that he would have the table read, but that the actors had a responsibility to put voice to their role, and if they felt it wasn't authentic, he would be open to them to say, "Okay, well, how would you say it then?" and blah blah blah, that kind of thing, and he could say yay or nay to their suggestion. But the fact that he opened it up and allowed them to speak and make it as authentic and feel as comfortable with that as possible, that was pretty cool. Not every director would feel that way, right? Or writer.
What I'm excited about is, when you have a table read, you're not really putting your emotional aspects into it. You're just simply reading it so that you can get comfortable with the piece. But it was great to see because they were really starting, we didn't ask them for, any emotion into it, but they were getting into it. They really were.
Good. That's good.
So that's always a good thing when they just naturally start to get this going.
Neil, you ought to think about taking one of your novels, man, and make it into a movie. Get someone to sit down and script that bad boy out, and you do it, and then get some actors and have them come in and do what Rose talking about here, do a table read, and but yeah, man, make that thing into a scripted movie.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah.
I have made it into a script. I have done that. The first one, Mirrors of Life. It has been. I've put it into a script.
That's excellent. Yeah, because anytime you read your works, and the Rose the same way, I can just there's a visualness for me anyhow, and I can just see it, and it's like wow. And I'm a movie buff anyhow, so if someone's reading something to me or telling me something about it, I got to be able to see it. And both of you guys, both of you and Rose, do a great job of really describing and setting up a scene where, it's a movie in my head. And I think Wendy made that same comment about your works, both of you. So anyhow, yeah, good stuff, good stuff. I was talking about Ro. Ro, I don't know if I showed this or not. I told this last week. Did I show this last week? My little book that came out and the stories. A lot of the articles that I've written in Black Wall Street and stuff, I'll put it into a compilation.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. So it's called Stories of African American Struggles and Achievements That Feed Our Soul.
I love it.
Written by Wendy No Chirion, yeah. She stole my stuff. What's up, Wendy? How you doing?
Hi there,
Yeah.
everyone.
Hey. But yeah, that's my little project I've been working on. Proud of it. It was published by Terry Martinez, our daughter, and TV Dub Publishing, just to let you know.
Well,
But,
I
yeah.
just turned my article in, and I'm so excited because Hetty Simmons Love has just been celebrating her 100th birthday in a grand fashion, just the way Centenarian should. So I wrote about our women of Harrisburg who, when we start thinking about women's history, we start thinking about, the Mary Bethune, we start thinking about, like those classical women who made, thresholds of history. But, somebody in our little town of Harrisburg, our little city of Harrisburg, like Mrs. Simmons Love, because I've gotten to go to all of her birthday events, most of the birthday events. And I'm just always, at awe at somebody who's 100 years old and who has such clarity of mind.
Yes.
She's
sharp.
She's amazing. Sharp. Yes. And I would love to just like sit in like down at her feet and just like with my little notebook say, tell me some stories.
I interviewed a lady who was 104, and I'm trying to think of his name. He was big time around there for a while. I've done a lot of work. I think he's since moved away, but he came to me one day and said, hey, I'd like you to interview my grandma for this show. And I said, okay. And so I said, your grandma? Okay. So I go over there and she's in a nursing home. She's 104. And she's talking like we're talking right now. And she started telling me all these wonderful stories. I have a little tape recorder. That was fascinating. I'm telling you, yeah.
I would love to spend a day. I went to a friend of mine who goes to my church. Her sister lives in an assisted nursing home. Well, I don't even want to call it a nursing, assisted living. And I went there. I wanted to take her something. So one day I went there and I went around dinner time and they were all sitting around the dinner table, and a friend of hers who I think she told me, and this was kind of like before COVID. So she was 100 at the time. So she's got to be, prayerfully, if she's still with us, at least 103. I pray she is. But I wanted to stay there. And it was funny because she had her lipstick on, her hair done, her pretty jacket on at dinner, like dressed to the nines at dinner. And she started telling us the story about, like they never had dinner on paper plates or paper anything. And it reminded me so much of my aunt, who was 96 when she passed away. And I remember to this day serving her breakfast one morning because I was in a bit of a rush and I had it on a paper plate, and she loved to have tea. And I still have her silver tea service. But she looked at me and she says, what is this? I was like, what is what, Aunt Lucille? She said, this. She's pointing to the plate, with her little finger. Go get me a real plate. Go get me a real plate. So I scrape her breakfast off and make sure it stays nice and neat on the plate. And I bring her a real plate. She said, go heat that for me. So I heat it up for her. And she said, go bring me a cup of tea, and it better not be in a paper cup.
All right.
But it was that when the lady at the assisted living home was saying about, I don't like anything on a paper plate. Everything's disposable now. It took me back to what my aunt was saying and how they came from that era of everything was so elegant. Or even if they didn't have a lot, they polished it, they shined it into whatever it was they didn't have looked the best way it could.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff you want to write about. Yeah, yeah. Neil, when you write, do you ever bring up those kinds of things in your writing, and you go back and you think about stuff that impacted you, and you kind of put it into your story, or do you just simply, bring your story out of the political world or something like that?
No, I bring in things of past and experiences. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
incorporate that.
Okay. And Wendy, I know you do.
As I'm listening, and as I was listening to Ro, my family, we do, we tell our story every, family reunion, but it's just to be able to get around some of the elders in the family, and my mom being one of the matriarchs of the family. We hear these, stories, and we hear these things, and oftentimes, I think about, just writing all of it down, but it's so much, and you just can't write it down. But just hearing the stories and things like that, and a lot of times I think about them because we got some characters in our family too. And so I absolutely, in writing and some of the stories that I've written, I think about them as, as not as the characters, but they kind of give me some ideas and some of the things that they would, do. And so when you grow up, my mom grew up, I said at one of the State Museum functions, there were 17 of them in the house. And so, when you grow up together like that and so close together, you hear, all of those stories. So absolutely.
Cool. Well, listen, here's what I'm gonna do. We've been on for a little bit here. I just looked at, I'm like, whoa, it's almost 8:00. What? But anyhow, and I always ask Brother Chris to post some videos. And since we've been rolling, I'm just gonna ask him to do 2 videos back to back, 2 spoken word videos. And then we'll keep rolling, and then we'll do the other 2 somewhere down the line. But everybody grab a piece. If you're gonna read something tonight, grab a piece that you're gonna read, and we'll do the round robin, okay? And we'll do that. But first up, Brother Chris.
Bell rings. I walk the hallways in deep despair, but the rest of my class seems to not care. What are they happy for? Their 4.0s come with no emotional turmoil. These pages cry out ages of pain, and I don't even want to turn more. Body paces, mind races like the great Jesse Owens and undesired spacers whose race was bigger than any ring on the Olympic logo. For every speck of dust kick or stopwatch tick he did not hear, he pioneered. For dark-skinned sprinters to reach new heights, no pogo. Yet I wrestle with the means, my heart torn between. Why was he demeaned? Wasn't he great? MLK? Or was there another version of America we was trying to make? I gotta catch this bus.
Just make it to the bus, Keandria. That's all you gotta do. Tomorrow will be better. It has to be better. Just don't let anyone see you. Don't break a sweat. Don't make a fuss. Girl, all you gotta do is get on this bus. Consider Maya Angelou. She knew why the caged bird sings. Author, poet, leader, activist, multi-degree holder, and still she had to break through the European standards of beauty trying to hold her. Each step I take, the ground crumbles beneath these J's, and I do the same, but I'm not gonna let one of these stones break out and sing. Not in my place. Instead, I lift my face to the hills, which comes my help. We not learning about Jesus for no reason. Grandma marched, preached, and reached peeps from seas to shores. She was on to something. Hey, John, what's up?
Nothing.
Bruh, that don't seem like nothing. Your head is hanging as if your spirit is dead. Why do you insist on fronting?
Key, please. Just let me be. I'm good. I'm just trying to recover from this D.
Boy, how did you get a D in history?
Don't call me boy, Key. And this ain't some fluke. History is killing me. And the better I do, the more I learn about the bloodstains of people who look like you. So tell me, why should I succeed in a history that keeps on killing people like me?
Oh, brother, you too? But can't you see there's more to our history than what we've been through? Don't you know? Don't you know who you are? Do you know what's been done for you? Don't you know, brown-skinned beloved, that you are valuable? Jesus displayed this when he went to the cross and died for you. We're not learning about Jesus for no reason. If you can't appreciate the value of the color of your skin, then you can't be in agreement with the one who frees you from sin.
Key, I know. But these tests are getting harder by the day. First there was slavery, then Jim Crow. Now we've got underlying inequality. So tell me, how, what, why should I allow my teacher to tell me that this shouldn't bother me?
Don't let history make you lose your sense of purpose in his story. It was taught without acknowledgement of my presence until the father of Black history, Carter G. Woodson, adjusted the angle. But the father put his son on wood by being pierced 4 times. He would reign supreme justice Thurgood, so that we could one day be in the presence with
Key,
him.
I hear you. Yet earlier you seemed to be feeling some type of way. Is it because, like me, you feel the constant pressure to assimilate? Abandon culture? Unique design? Like me, do you wrestle with just wanting to say no thank you to these traits divine? I don't see Black doing the things in life I want to do, and that don't seem fair. And since we started this conversation, you haven't stopped looking at Sally's hair. I admit, sometimes it's red I see, but now it's my turn to play Moses and set you free. Consider Harriet Tubman. She set the captives free like Calvary. From their chains through their pain, she relied on Christ, her one thing remained.
Now, John, you know that is a struggle I know all too well. Either my hair isn't straight enough, or I'm just in the room to play token.
See? But it's the church's responsibility to defend the broken. So let me help. We ain't learn about Jesus for nothing. Your curls are not knots. They are brushstrokes directed by the hands of a master artist. Can't you see that you are a masterpiece in the master's piece? That your 4C kinky radiates his glory equally? Don't you know? Don't you know who you are? That when you let those beautiful locks swings, that you bring sparks to his heart? Key, don't you get on this bus without considering Rosa Parks.
She did the right thing by not following the crowd. She didn't care about the threats or who she made upset. She risked it all on the side of a winning bet. She took a seat and didn't accept defeat. I too wish to be on the winning side like her and Sojourner Truth. But these stats stacked against Black make it hard to sojourn through. I too fear sometimes, John. But when I think how she broke free from these chains and became a women's rights activist and abolitionist, I too can get past this. Still I rise, Maya Angelou. Her words echo in my mind in this hopeful tone. She said, despite all these struggles and hardships you may feel, there is joy to be had still.
Girl, you better go. It's good to see your skin start to glow. Little brown faces deserve to see spaces where they are honored, accepted, appreciated, and celebrated. All the above. Beloved, don't you know? For all this baseball you see me play, Jackie Robinson paved the way. The first African-American to play in the MLB. He had heart, passion, and tenacity, but one with God is the majority. He wasn't alone, and neither are you, madam.
C.J. Walker was the first female self-made entrepreneur, social activist, and philanthropist. She redefined what beauty was. She represented for us. Black history is American history. American history is world history, but it's all a part of his story.
To be a person of color is not a scar on your skin, but a beauty mark of an immaculate designer.
But John, I'm so tired. Why is it that we keep having to encourage our own selves?
Because our brothers and sisters are silent.
Don't you know? Don't you know who you are? Don't you know whose you are?
Martin Luther King dreamed a dream that not many others could see.
He knew God had stepped in to get the victory.
A dreamer.
A visionary who marched on to achieve a small glimpse of heaven on earth we'd see.
He saw it when it was just an idea.
But now it's here. Faith and determination collide.
Don't you know?
Don't you know that we are his bride?
And to be reconciled with him is to be reconciled to the other side.
Side by side we stand and express the beauty of Jesus' prayer for oneness.
Don't you know who?
Don't you know whose?
Don't you know who you are? The gospel is clear on what he values. His cash is clay formed in the hands of the potter. We are all the same dirt in the hands of the Father. Whether black is vertisol, light is sand, red is clay, or brown is dirt, we delight in his creation when we are the church.
The entire scene in Revelation screams the beauty of God's love for diversity. Diversity is not about how we differ, but it's about embracing one another's uniqueness. It's a part of God's strength, but still our weakness. You peep his glory divine, making individuals align. The body of Christ needs an adjustment of the spine.
In the great words of Frederick Douglass, if there is no struggle, there can be no progress. We must press on towards the mark. That's what I read that Paul said in my night. Don't we see who we could be? This Christ has offered new life.
If we're truly ever going to be one, as the Father is with the Son, then the church must stop what the enemy has begun.
Don't you know?
Don't you know that you have a part to play?
Pretty powerful. I like it. We can stop right there. Let's stop right there, and then we'll come back to another piece. That's a good piece. I like that. Kind of went off abruptly there, but we get the point. And what you guys think? Comments?
You know, I am constantly reminded of how, and I like this, how powerful the Black woman is and has portrayed throughout our history. You know, American history will go further than that, but I'm just going to deal with American history right now. But I mean, you start talking about powerful things that were done by a Black woman. I mean, that's some deep stuff, man. That we have to acknowledge the Black woman, the things that she did. And that's why in my book I mentioned you should fear the Black woman. You know, I mean, there it is, man. I mean, she is the key to everything, to our success, to our existence, to our survival, everything. Black woman.
I'm with you on that, brother. No question about it. Let's hear from the Black women. What y'all think?
Wow. Thank you, Neil, for saying that. And you know, it's funny because I feel I agree with you, but I feel the same way about a Black man. And so I mean, so the combination and it's powerful, I think, when you have that, you know, when you have that, because there's nothing more beautiful, you know, nothing more beautiful in my eyes. But the poem and the piece, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And one of the things that caught me was she said, the body of Christ needs an adjustment of the spine. And I was like, whoa, you know, and I wrote it down and she said it because it was, you know, even as you're talking about things and they began talking about where we need to go. And she said that we need to stop what the devil has begun. You know, it was definitely one of those poems that, you know, and one of those pieces that, you know, opens your eyes to some things and says some things that have been said, but just said in such a way, that it catches you. It's definitely something to hear again. And listen to again, but I thought it was well done, beautifully done, and the history that they spoke of. I think that's so important, you know, so important as we're in, you know, Black History Month, in our Black history lives. I think it's important to share that.
Good stuff. Ro, how about yourself?
Well, it kind of reminded me of my week at school. My 7th grade English class is about to read. Are you familiar with Mildred Taylor's Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry?
I love it.
Yes. I've taught that book I don't know how many times. And I remember the first time I taught it, I was teaching English for Harrisburg School District. So the diversity in that particular school district is a lot different from the diversity from where I'm at. So I had my students do a research project about the era of the 60s as it related to the civil rights movement. They had a variety of different topics that related to that era. And I was just surprised where, you know, like you think the kids know, your classics of Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King. And, I had mentioned things that I thought they knew, and they didn't. I mean, not that I was surprised. I was not surprised. But it makes me realize that we're losing of just what I was talking about before, where we sat down at the feet of our elders and they told us about their past and how it enriched our presence because we knew where we were coming from. Well, now that whole legacy of knowing about your past and how your past leads you to your present is slowly dissipating because kids just don't know.
They don't know.
And that's scary to me.
Yeah. And if we're not exposing it, it's not that it's not out there to know, because it is. But the question is, how do we get it to them? Especially when they are bombarded with all this other stuff. I mean, my goodness, we had 3 stations growing up when I grew up. Now you have 3,000 stations. I mean, it's unbelievable. And so much to be seen. And then they don't even have to worry about, they don't worry about no TV or anything. Look, hey, come on, man.
Right
And
here.
they're
Right
so
here.
attached to that. They are so attached to it.
I mean, it's incredible. Yeah. And so, yeah, but back to the piece, I really enjoyed it myself, and I had to step away real quick. But man, when I came back in and realized what they were doing and the way they were talking about Christ, but also talking about history, and the combination of the two, I said, go ahead now. That was a beautiful piece. And I like the dialogue between the young boy and the young girl, just going back and forth with that. And they did it in a setting where it's in school, and they're outside of school in the snow. Okay, but then they came back and that was all cool. I'm like a little bit too cold to be out discussing all this. Let's get back inside. But it was great piece though. And I like the what do you want to call it? The creativity of it all, But also that's a piece you could show to students, 7th grade students or whoever, and I think they would get it, and then you could even discuss, well, what do you know about Jackie Robinson? What do you know about, this person, that person, yeah, good stuff. So thank you, Brother Chris. Usually I just ask Chris to find some things, and he always comes up with some gems, and that was a really good one. So let's do this then. Let's get a couple readings in, and then we'll see some more videos as we go along. But who has what tonight? Who's going to read tonight?
I haven't.
Okay. The 2 women jumped in at the same time. We're going to flip a coin.
No, Ro can go first.
Go ahead.
Ro can go first.
Ro is going first. All right.
Okay, well, this is sort of an old one. I just kind of went through my book and this one landed. It's called Like When, WHEN. I need to grab hold of everything that pushes me down and push back. Like when you walk into a room and they turn their heads, wondering if your melanin will make a stain on their interior. Like when mothers have pressed their oppressed beliefs into the pretty blonde heads of their baby girls. When they only want to dance and wear pretty dresses and carry their colorless teddy bears and hold on to their barren, innocent minds. Like when you bring your wares to the table of opportunity and you are told that your feet don't reach the floor even when you sit up straight, so you slouch. Like when you see your pennies falling, but not from heaven, becoming smaller each day as they become absorbed into a politically twisted society where old presidents incite injustice on Capitol hills that cause us all to fall into distressed valleys. Like when kids sit in classrooms forgetting that education comes with no cost, but costs them the pains of using dormant gray cells to keep out of jail cells. Like when the cost of living costs more than living itself, and the steps of the poor are laden with the promises of good paying jobs that take them to the land of good living, but only lead to the temple of despair and foreclosure. Like when we see the ending of a good thing, like Black love, we cry a good cry and hold our words in, never voicing the pain of jealousy, envy, and hate. like when we feel like we have failed, never seeing that failure is nothing more than getting off the boat at the wrong dock, where we sit watching both the tide and time roll away. These things make me feel like when.
Nice. Yeah. You know, you made me think, I was thinking, shush, like when, and you know, because you could go on and on with that, you know, just some like wins. Yeah, good stuff.
Absolutely.
I like it.
Absolutely, like when.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I like it. And your voice always carries and you know, makes the poem or the story or whatever it is, it draws you, you know, it draws you in.
Mhm.
And
Thank you. So does yours.
I thank you. Like when you I have to tell you that the other day I was thinking of you because I was talking to my mother, and she you know, she lives alone, so it was only her, but she was saying that she had some lemonade in the refrigerator. She thought she did. And she said, I went in there and couldn't find it. And I realized I must have drank the last swallow.
Yeah.
And I said, Ro. She
Oh,
said, I
yeah.
must have drank the last swallow.
Voila.
Yes.
Yep.
I know something about that last swallow.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mm.
So am I up next?
Yes, you are.
All right. Well, this is a short one. It's called Confessions. And I just sort of did what Ro did. I just kind of flipped through. Confessions. It was written May 11th of 2009. In my life, I want to fulfill my needs. I want to reach my fullest extent. I want to see at my vision's fullest potential and hear the words of the most knowledgeable elders in every tongue with total understanding. This I desire. I want to walk a straight line with my friends and never cross that fine line with my enemies. I want to love unselfishly and accept love in return, unexpecting and with gracious consent. This I want. I want to know with blessed assurance that I am not the only one to travel this path. I want to know that with the mustard seed of faith, surely I too will make it through. And surely this is not new to only me. This I pray. As I weave my tangled web, may I not fall prey to my own deceit. And should vengeance become my purpose, any weapon formed against me, may it not prosper. This is my request. I want to be self-sufficient in my every endeavor, otherwise efficient in everything I do. I want my actions and concerns to evoke proficiency by me, as well as those I reach. This I mandate. I resolve to demonstrate conviction in my creeds, whereas denounce bliss where ignorance is concerned. I resolve to build dreams upon bases of reality, thus maintaining goals that are not only attainable, but tangible and purposeful as well. This is my volition. May I hold true to all of my aspirations, never fall short of that which I perceive to be the necessities of life, for these will be my confessions.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good piece as always.
Thank you.
Mhm. Your confession. I'm waiting to hear them.
You have to read
know they're
between the
gonna
lines.
be good.
You have to read between the lines. That was them.
Oh, boy. Yeah, good stuff. By the way, how's your son doing? How's my man
Jeff
doing?
is doing great. I spent Saturday evening in his dorm with him. He took me out to dinner to a French restaurant. So they have restaurants at the school that people, you know, in the city, anybody can come in and you make reservations and you come to the restaurant, but it's students that are running the restaurant and students that are cooking.
Wow.
And it was really good. So he made reservations. But the funny thing is I've been calling it an Alice in Wonderland experience because Taft's room, his dorm room, is set up like a giant. His bed is so high that I had to get on a chair to get up on his bed. And then to get off, I just let my body slide down until I felt my feet hit the floor. His desk is high, his chair, everything in his room. And I'm tall. So everything in his room. And I was like, Taft, this is ridiculous. Like everything. He just put his leg up there and rolled over on the bed. And he was like, no, this is normal. So,
Okay.
but he's doing very well. He seems to be very well adjusted. You know, he knows everyone, which is typical Taft. And so the students that were in the restaurant were talking to him, and he's doing really well.
Fantastic. Great. That's good to hear. Taft's a great writer too, by the way, if folks don't know.
Yes.
And he's only about 5'1", but
That's it.
How tall is Taft these days, for real?
Taft is 6'8". Last time we checked, he was 6'8".
8.
Yeah,
Man.
6'8". But I'm a little bit worried. I think he might be growing again.
Might be growing again.
I think so, because I was looking at, I bought him some sweatpants. And so when I buy clothes for him and he's not there, I have to hold them up. And if they come up to here, then they're long enough. And so I thought for sure these would be long enough. And when he tried them on, they weren't. And I said, uh-oh, Taft.
All kids are really hard. My son is 6'6", but he's like a string bean at 6'6".
Okay.
That's all
Yeah,
right.
and that's
I don't know if I met your son before. Yeah. I think that son 6'6". Get out of here. Okay.
Yeah. But but we can still do this, Wendy. We can still say, come down here.
That's right. Yeah. Or I threatened to climb up on top of the refrigerator. Because Taft is also big.
Yeah, he is.
And he's realized his size. I think he's finally realized how big he is. And so
he's a big man.
Yeah.
Well, Wendy, your mom. We don't have to climb. We make them come to us.
I see. I like the drama of jumping off the refrigerator. I think that gets the point through. You have to show them. You have to, as a mother, you also have to demonstrate just a little level of crazy. I think sometimes you have to let them know that I'm not all the way there.
Well, James Brown said, I don't know karate, but I know crazy.
That's right.
Let's better get to my man Neil here too. Now, Neil got some reasons he wants to drop in here. Neil, did you have anything you want to drop on us too?
No, not particularly.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I just wanted to just freeze you out. That's all, to make sure. Yeah. Not to cut the women off, but they keep on.
That's what he
No, the women are rolling. I like to let them
rolling with the
continue
sons.
to deliver.
Like, what did I start up in here? Is Taft still writing poetry?
He does. He does. I didn't read it because I was trying my best not to be nosy.
That's a whole other thing. We ain't going there.
I was trying not to be nosy, but I did see that he had, there's a book that he writes in, and I saw that he had some things. And so I just, didn't read it, just looked and saw that, he is writing. So maybe soon he'll be able to join or he'll stop through, he'll do a kumbaya.
That would be a great thing. He got that computer, tell him to fire it up.
Yes.
Hey, by the way, are you interested in going back down to, because I started to call my man Jesse Waters back down to Elizabethtown College?
I am, absolutely.
Okay. Bro, you good?
Yes.
So let's make that happen. So let's strategize real quick. And also, Neil, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to try to take the computer down, and so we can do have people come online if they want to and join us and everything. And we'll say that to Brazil and whoever else that doesn't, even if they don't want to travel down from Harrisburg, they might want to still join us online, kind of thing. So what's a good Saturday, folks, that I could call Jesse and say, hey, man, listen, and we'll come up for a couple of days because more than likely, Saturdays are usually pretty good, I think he told me, but, hey, you never know. So do you want to try something in March?
I have to look at the rehearsal schedule for myself. That's the only thing is I got rehearsal Bible.
Oh, are you guys doing yours in March or May?
It's the performance itself is in May, but
okay. I was thinking it was in March. Okay.
Yeah. So I'd actually have to look at the rehearsal schedule to determine what Saturday I would be free.
You may not have any free Saturdays.
No, we do have some free Saturdays.
Okay.
Because I was just texting between Janet Bixler and Maria. We were like constantly in contact with each other. And we were talking about, by the way, Reclaim the Art Collective is having a, let me pull it up. We are having a fundraiser. Let me see. The fundraiser is, it's a paint and sip. The cost of it is $50. The profits go to our production, Hair Story, Reclaiming Our Crown. Guests receive their own canvas to take home, a smock, paint, and an easel to use, a poetry performance by Maria James Chow, and a goodie bag. It's Saturday, February the 25th at 4 o'clock at the Journey Church, which is at 750 South 29th Street in Harrisburg, PA. And you can purchase your tickets by February the 18th on Everbright or Eventbrite.
That's tomorrow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh, wait,
yeah,
what
how
you
doing?
said, what day, Saturday, what?
It's
25th.
Saturday, it's Saturday. You can purchase your tickets February the 18th, but the actual event is February the 25th, which is Saturday.
Okay, okay.
Great. Nan Swanson, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good to see you. Okay.
I just came
Hey,
in from the
Nan.
Civics Club.
Oh, okay.
They were honoring my great nephew. He was one of the recipients.
Nice. What was the event?
Huh?
What was the name of the event?
African American trailblazers in our community.
Oh, yeah, I saw that advertised. I thought that happened okay, that was tonight. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, wonderful.
Mary
Okay.
Grace Majors,
Mhm.
She
Yeah,
was,
very nice. Okay.
program manager.
Yeah. I'm sorry I missed that, but I'm glad that they did it, though. That's good. Wonderful,
Oh,
wonderful.
it was fun.
Okay. So Sunday now, and I might as well jump in here. Don't forget Sunday at 1 o'clock from 1 to 4. We'll be at the State Museum.
Right.
Honoring those who have, been, celebrating our history and our culture for years. So anyhow, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And Brother Chris bringing up there you go. Thank you, my brother. I love that flyer too. She did a wonderful job with that. Keeping the culture alive, celebration. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Hey, that's Brother Chris, since you did that, can you bring up one more video here? Since I don't want to run out of time and not be able to see the videos. That last one was tight. Very good. The
Very
next
good.
video. Yeah.
I am proud to be Black. I am proud to be part of a people that exhibit love, passion, beauty, and community that is brilliant and resilient, the cultivators of life and civilization. I am proud. I am proud to say that I'm a part of a culture that is so rich and ingrained into our society, so much so, you can't even walk down the street without hearing the influence of jazz or the blues or seeing our influence on style, art, life, and dialect. I am proud. I'm proud to say that I stand on the shoulders of monuments. That's why I want to thank Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin for being in the pens that I write with. I want to thank Aretha Franklin and Nina Simone for being in the songs that I sing. I want to thank Martin Luther King and Malcolm X for their radical thoughts and ideas, for their drive, for their power for social justice and change. That's why I am proud to be Black. You know, in fact, you should be glad that I'm Black because it's in my step, because it's in my mind, because my people are just so divine. I want to thank all of the Black inventors that have helped make our lives better. I'm talking Garrett Morgan, Lewis Howard Letterman, Alice H. Parker, and the countless others whose minds enriched our times. That's why I say I am proud. I am proud. Oh, I'm proud to be Black.
Nice.
All right.
Mike Gilliam, Let It Rip. That was the name of the program, looked like. Let It Rip. That's good stuff. I wonder if that was just devoted to spoken word, or was it, just a program that comes on? But hey, cool.
That
I
was
don't know what it
nice.
was out of, but I love the guy's passion and delivery. Go ahead, Whitney.
Now I was gonna say it was nice, and I was just gonna say I love the way he spoke, and just I always comment on feeling monotone, and so I just love the way he he expressed it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Anybody else thoughts?
I love being Black too. And
Right
he
on, right
some
on.
of my favorite people, Nina Simone. Oh,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
like one of my favorites. I listen to her a lot when I write.
Did you catch the documentary on her on HBO?
Yes, I did. Uh-huh.
Yeah, powerful.
Yeah, and Toni Morrison.
Yeah. Toni Morrison, that was powerful as well. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
I think I got an LP of Nina Simone down in the basement somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I wanted to be a blues singer when I was younger.
You have a blues singer voice.
I was
Yeah.
gonna
I
say,
sang the blues in a different way. It was through my marriage that I sang the blues.
I hear you now. Singing the blues, man.
Yeah.
Boy. Hey, did you have anything that you want to read or talk about tonight, Nanette?
No, just I want to do the skit, I guess, on Sunday with Harriet Tubman. It's not long,
Oh, okay.
just a
Okay.
little short thing.
Okay.
And
How
I did.
How long
I-
did you say it is?
I did it. I think I did it on here last year, but I also did it Tuesday at First Baptist. It was
Nice.
just where she well, sort of brought the slaves out of slavery, and it talks about that, and it talks about some of her famous quotes about I looked at my hands to see if I was the same person now that I was free. And see, I done got a blank already.
That's okay. It's cool. You think it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes? How long do you think it is?
Oh, it's not 10 minutes. No, it's 5. It's less than 5.
Okay, cool. Excellent.
Yeah, less than 5.
Yeah, I put the program together and pretty much have everybody around 5 minutes kind of thing. So that's perfect. If you can.
And I just do that little skit, about,
Yes.
her little slave, and just talk about a little bit about her
That's
birth,
excellent.
and, death and all that stuff.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I look forward to everybody being there if you can. Wendy, Ro, let's have a good time. Now, Ro, I know you have other things happening, but you will be there on Sunday?
I should be. I don't know if I'll be there exactly at 1.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
but
I will, in fact, what I'm gonna do tonight is send you all the actual program agenda so that you'll know what we kind of have you scheduled in there and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Most everything's gonna happen from 2 to 4. We have a speaker lecture. Betty Curtis is gonna speak from like 1:15 to 1:45, and then I'll open up with, hello, welcome, that kind of stuff. Have George Hartwick said he's coming in. I'm hoping he'll join us right around 2, around 1:55. Say a few words, welcome, and then go from there. And we
yeah,
have,
my literary buddy is going to be honored. So, I'll have to come and see that.
now, which one's the literary buddy?
Maria.
Oh, absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely,
yeah.
My
sure,
literary buddy.
sure, absolutely, yeah.
Emily Newkirk, she sang tonight. She wasn't on the program, but they had her come up and sang. A change is going to come. She's really good.
Oh, wow. I love
Ah,
that song. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic, good. I understand they had a wonderful program over at St. Paul's Episcopal Church. It's called the Absalom Jones.
I was there.
Oh, go ahead, okay.
Yeah, I was there. It was
Send me the
very nice.
video. The video
there.
looked real tight. I didn't get a chance to see it all yet, but yeah, so good program.
Yeah, I stayed around for the camera.
Okay,
It was
Nice.
real nice.
very good. Okay.
And I saw Brunson. Yeah, that's his name. And his
Yes,
name
Copper.
Brunson.
Papa.
Yeah, Copper Brunson.
Yeah,
Copper Brunson. Yeah.
yeah,
Someone said he got up and spoke.
yeah. He said a few words.
Okay, cool. Right on. All right. Well, listen, let's keep it rolling. Let me see what time we can have a time to get in a couple more poems here, or spoken word pieces, whatever. Wendy, you want to go back to you again? You want to start?
Sure. Really quick, I wanted to share, I signed up. It's called A Celebration of Toni Morrison. It's a Song of Solomon virtual marathon reading from February 23rd to 25th. It's free. It's online, but they have different readers and different panelists and things. And so I don't know how I would send, I guess I can send it and we can send it out to everyone, but you can register for free or donate, of course, and they're trying to advance racial and social justice through adult literacy education.
Okay.
And so it's, and tomorrow, Toni Morrison would be 92, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, she will be 92 tomorrow. So it's a celebration of Toni Morrison, Song of Solomon virtual marathon reading. So.
Okay. And you can sign up still, or it's already been signed?
No, you can sign up still.
Fantastic. Okay.
Can you consider send it to us?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's says share the link, so I have to. Okay. I'll put the link. I'll share the link with you.
Okay, thank you.
Were you saying something about a program on the 25th?
It's virtual program from the 23rd to the 25th. I'm not sure how it will go, but it's a virtual marathon reading of Song of Solomon.
It's reading of the Song of Solomon. Okay.
Yes. It's I mean, I would imagine that it would be really good because some of the people that they have that are reading is Hilton Alves, Margaret Atwood, Britt Bennett, and they have a group of people that are reading the different parts and things. So I think it would be really good. So they have panel. A panel is, the panelists are Dr. Dana Williams from Howard, Edgewood, Danny Katz, she's an author, the moderator. So it's got some really good things. I'll send it to you all so that you can see it.
We had a dance interpreter tonight. Her name was Rachel Thompson, and she graduated from Howard. But it was a fantastic presentation of her dance.
What was her name?
Rachel Thompson.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen her, but she was good.
Okay. We have, here's a gentleman I'm gonna have on next Thursday evening from 8 to 9 by the name of Lyndon Kirkland. And he's going around the countries and been highly recommended by Greg Spells, who's one of our educators here in the area. And Greg has been singing his praises. He called me, so we talked. And so he's going to be with my guest. And he's been New York speaking, Florida, just in the past week, and this kind of thing. But he's really into Black history. So I'm looking forward to his presentation. He did send me something that he has presented on, and it's all that. So please check it out. Next Thursday at 8 p.m. It'll be right here on The Voice, 17104 Harrisburg. And his name is Lyndon Kirkland, I believe it is. And it's Black history speaker. And so we'll be featuring him. So I want you to check him out. Yeah. Good. So Wendy, did you read that? And then Ro will follow if possible?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. This is called Whitewashed. Whitewashed. I was in kindergarten when I found out. I painted him the way I saw him. His eyes were dark and friendly. His afro did a cameo from beneath his hat. He had dimples, but he wasn't jolly because, well, Black men aren't jolly. I was proud of him as I told the others the glorious story of all he would do. They seemed frightened, shocked. Their small faces turned the color of his jacket, and the teacher was appalled. Appalled, she said that word. Yes, he's big and tall, I explained, stretching my hands to the ceiling while standing on my tippy toes. But he'll fit. Honest was all my 4-year-old mind could say. And then she said it. Santa is not Black. but she said it like black was a bad word. It sounded like a crime or transgression, sounded like filth, sounded like she had figured out a way to suck the magic out of the wonder of a black man. It sounded like she offended my father. I said, my daddy said, I knew I was wading in uncharted barracuda-filled waters. If a white man comes to our house in the middle of the night, I was confident in the protection he provided. I continued to dispatch with confidence and conviction. And that white man don't ring the doorbell, my daddy said he's going to get his shotgun. 45 years later, and little kids are still painting and coloring snowflakes and snowmen. Christmas was whitewashed to avoid the culture of our blackness. And 45 years later, I'm still sitting in the principal's office with my daddy defending me. Her Santa is black like her father, like the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. Only one not black in our house is the boogeyman. For extra measure, he added, and for show and tell, every doll will be black too. Black girls have black babies. And I love how it sounded when he said it. It sounded like overdue black girl entitlement and privilege, sounded like perfection, like I could hide it, and behind it, I was proud. My daddy said it. I wondered, why didn't my black baby dolls look like the white ones? Their eyes were never quite right, their hair never combed the same, and they whitewashed playing house because they didn't understand how house is in my culture. We've been mommies to white babies that only believe in white Santas for generations. So they took the life out of our eyes and made our hair look like theirs. And 45 years later, I'm still checking the eyes on dolls and figurines, yet I continue to bask in the beauty of my blackness. I take pride in their inability to reproduce or duplicate the soul in my eyes. I find pleasure in their curiosity of the enchantment of my hair. I watch Black Santas caring for their families, shotgun ready, always defending their position. No time for jolly here. And I hear their laughter. Sounds like thunder, sounds like an orchestra, sounds like God clapping his hands, sounds like protection. But because he knows, as long as Black girls have Black daddies, Black tooth fairies, and Black Santas, they can't whitewash Black love.
That's great. That's powerful.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is Black History Month. And we're celebrating Black History Month 2023, but we always say 365.
365.
No more 28-day
Yes.
delay.
You know, this is the longest, this is the longest job I've ever had, my Blackness. It's the longest job I've ever had. I've never taken any days off. I have perfect attendance.
Go ahead now.
I have perfect attendance.
I like
you
it.
know, I've gotten into trouble a couple of times, but and I've moved up. I've moved up. I've got some promotions in it as well. So this is the longest job I've ever had.
You're going to write that as a piece, right?
I just thought that just now because I just made that up as I was saying it.
Write it down. Write it down.
Write that down. That's right. That's good.
I'm on it right here. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Ro. That's good. Yeah.
If you hear it on Sunday, don't be surprised.
Well, if I beat you to it, don't be surprised. But anyhow, so I'm up here writing as we speak. Go ahead, Ro. You got one for us?
Yeah, I do. It was kind of like what Neil was saying. I forgot I wrote this, and this was a personal incident that kind of like ruffled my feathers a little bit. It's called "I'm Not Your GURL." You don't know me like that. I'm not the one, I quietly huffed under my breath as you proceeded to give me your backhand no Jesus to be found compliment. I'm not your girl. I'm not a child. I left that land of wonderment decades ago. And no, I wear these coils that grow out of my head in this fashion by choice. Don't check in on me unless you plan to be there when the road bends the crooked way, like my true sister girlfriends are. Smiling and grinning as if to say, I'll be there when you fall. That's when you'll give me a call. That's when you'll think of yourself. Well, that ain't so smart, you see. It might be cliche to say, but God don't like ugly. Some call the Black man boy.
It didn't make him stoop to your systematic ways. Instead, he stood and showed you what kind of man he was. Well, here I am letting go of this bit of rage that lies below the surface of my spirit. I'm going to just walk away and cool off. But I'm going to lay this down on the perpetual table of equality because I need to say, in my Savior's good graces. You don't know me that way. I ain't your GURL.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice. Yeah,
All right.
good writing. That's all I can say. Good writing. That's why folks need to join the Writers Workshop. Y'all come on down now.
I picked up the Black Wall Street paper tonight. They had a lot of them there. And I
Okay.
see where Roll had an article in there, and also you had one.
Yes, I did. Yeah. In fact, we're writing for March now.
Oh, are you?
She already submitted her piece. I got to submit mine tomorrow.
So did you already make this cornbread?
Well, that's a recipe that I just kind of adapted, but it was from my mother's recipe. She used to make hot water cornbread all the time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I might try it. I love cornbread.
Right on. Good stuff. Well, I'm going to ask Brother Chris to show one more video to close out tonight, and then we'll finish up the Writers Workshop. We always stop right at 9, but anyone who wants to join us, just give me a call, 717-608-2312. Again, that's 717-608-2312. You can always watch us right here on Facebook Live every Friday night from 7 till 9. But if you'd like to come on and read and be a part of this, we'd love to have you come on. We don't just let anybody in these days because, some folks come on and just kind of act a fool, and all that kind of stuff. But we just want people who are serious, who are, at any stage or level of your writing. We don't care about that. We just want you to be serious about coming on and having some fun and lifting up, the written word and the spoken word. And that's what it's all about. And we're not exclusive, we're simply, particular about people coming on. We don't do all that old crazy cursing and, using sexual stuff and all that. That's not going to happen here. But we do have good, fine writers, as you heard tonight, and people who are respectful of their craft and also who really love to, just fellowship this way. And so we'd love to have you come on. We really would, but just give us a call and we'll talk about it, okay? And get you on. And then we are going to be doing some things. We have created what's called the Griot Collective. We're going to be really intentional about being more performance-based as well. And so you're going to see some of us out there on the road doing some things. We'd love to come to your church, to your organization, to your university or school and perform for you. The people that you see here tonight from Nanette Swanson, who is a great singer and also does reenactments. She's going to, do some things that will really lift up your spirits. And you have Ro Brady, who's a master writer, not just a poet, but a great novelist and storyteller, and also director of plays. You have Wendy Nocherry Onye, who is just a master with words and also a tremendous storyteller. She has some pieces, just my absolute favorite. It takes me to Africa every time she reads that piece about the body in the street and this, that. And I'm like, what? How do you think of this stuff? And paint these pictures, y'all. Y'all do such a great job. And Neil Owens, as you see, Neil's actually out of North Carolina. We have, a sister who didn't come on tonight, but Lizelle Powder. She's out in New York City. And we have Dr. Dan Snowden, who's right here out of Harrisburg. Great poets, all of these folks are. And then we have people come in every now and then, like Keontae Ricks, who's an outstanding poet and doing a lot of good stuff with videos these days. And I just talked to Keontae. Hopefully he'll be joining me tomorrow morning as we talk to our chaplains. By the way, I would like to invite the Writers Workshop readers, so those persons who are on tonight, the Griot Collective, to come and speak to my chaplains and read some of your works. Some of your works will be just absolutely outstanding, and useful to our chaplains who go around and meet people every day, because you tell stories, and your storytelling is something we could dissect and talk about in terms of the spiritual quality of it and what it means, why you wrote it and that kind of thing. We've had poets in the past, Julia Mallory. I'm just can't think of all of them, but yeah, they've come out and read for us, and believe me, the spirit is high in the room when you come. So I'm going to invite you out. We do it the third Saturday of every month. And maybe in March we could have some of you poets come out and fellowship with our chaplains who are in training, and we'd love to have you. So we'll talk about that. But anyhow, at this time, let's ask Brother Chris if he'll bring up the last video for tonight, and then we'll finish up the Writers' Workshop for this evening. Brother Chris. And thank you, by the way, Brother Chris Thomas has been hosting the workshop for years now, and this is a great platform.
Absolutely.
This black world, this is me. Don't you see? Like King, I got a vision, he had a dream, and it's the right team. Yeah, I'm black. And I love this skin. This melanin deserves a plaque. For real, I'm the real. This motion picture will air categorically, rhetorically, metaphorically, and for sure historically. Looking back on history, seeing the struggle, the pain, I know my people was drained. But it's crazy how what was then is now. Being bound by the seat, hands up, don't shoot, but shot in the street.
Gosh.
First, too many hashtags. Will there be another body bag? Get out, don't fall in the sunken place. Being tricked, hood with bamboozled, misinformed. I'm going to say, nah, this like Rosa. What is this really about? Lest we forget. Say that name, this isn't a game on the new PS5. We got to strive to make a change. Sam Cooke got us hooked. Just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming at our expense. But this black world is quite resilient. Stand up. Don't fear. I'm determined to hold my ancestors dear. This is my black world.
Very unique. Wow. She seems young too.
Yep.
Nice piece. Yeah. All right.
Very young.
Yeah.
That's nice. She educated herself. I mean, as you might say, what does she know?
She knows what she knows. And by the way, the bang that she threw in there.
I know.
That was dramatic.
I felt
Almost
it.
went down.
I felt that bang.
I saw Wendy dive up under the chair and everything.
I'm still up under here.
But very creative, very well done. And not only, it's only like what, 1 minute and 37 seconds, I think I saw. It was short, but that, a lot of power packed into it. So good stuff. Yeah, keep it moving, So
I saw something interesting, and this reminded me of it.
Yeah.
So the men that were charged with the murder of Tyree Nichols, so they pled not guilty, but one of the charges that they were charged with was official oppression. I didn't know oppression was illegal. And so I've decided that from now on, anytime I'm oppressed, I'm going to call the police and demand a citizen's arrest.
Go ahead,
I think you all should do the same too. I mean, it said on CNN, so it's got to be true, that official oppression was one of the charges. Isn't it interesting that no one else really gets that charge? But these 5 men did. It's a very difficult, for me, it's a very difficult thing to watch because I'm on both sides, I'm on both sides. And so I just thought it was very interesting that official oppression was one of the charges that they faced.
Sounds like another poem, bro. What you think? Nanette, sound like what she's getting ready to write another piece.
Writing it down.
I saw it too, several, news things. But to me, I didn't see any remorse or nothing. I didn't see any like they felt anything to me. It just didn't.
They all came in with masks on.
Yeah, but they still, right.
Came with masks on. The mother said they never looked at me, said they could not look at me, And then I'll come in talking about you're innocent. What? And then the one attorney, he got up and said, well, my man is innocent because he didn't lay a hand on him. And he was telling him to set up. Yeah, man, he kept telling him, so he was caring for him. He told him to set up. What?
You could.
What do you say to something like that? I know he's being paid to defend the brother, but it's like, wow. By
Yeah.
the way, people still losing their jobs over there too. They said 4 more people lost
Yes.
their jobs.
Yes.
Isn't that something?
Yes. This police chief, or whatever she is, she's a sister. She is not playing, and she is making it very clear.
Yes.
Not on my watch. I think the message she's sending is, if you want to clown, you can clown, but you won't do it on my watch.
Yeah.
And
I've been
I
impressed with
like
her.
that.
Yeah, I do too. I've been impressed with her from day one. She's not playing, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Wow.
like.
I
not
heard
on
this
my-
other police man that was on Facebook, and he said they were thugs dressed in cops uniforms. They were thugs,
As if none of them
gang
are.
bangers.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of them are gang bangers and thugs dressed in cops uniform. That's a problem, and especially when they get in. Listen, it's called the mob mentality. That's the thing that always kills me. You know, could we, any of us, get caught up like that? Because you say to yourself, why would you go along with that? It's that mob mentality thing that happens. And then there's, of course, is the blue. You know, we're cops. You don't mess with us. You don't run from us. And they say that's the real deal. That if you run from a cop, these guys lose control. A lot of them, not all of them, but they lose control. I never forget my son being stopped. And I want to thank publicly Krista Turner Childs. She was the one who pulled him over right up there on Hamilton Avenue. He had his whole family in the car. And I just happened to be going that way. And I stopped and I said, "Is that David?" It was my son David and his family. And so so I said, "Oh, I know her, that's Crystal." So I pull up, and I go back. I was first to talk to David, and then what's going on? Oh, they had hydraulics in the car have let loose. And so it's the back of his car had come down. She said, "That's illegal. You can't drive like that." So she had to stop him. And she said to me, "Is this your son?" She said, "I figured he might have to be related because of the last name." She said, "But I want to say this to you." She said, "Tell your son that when an officer stops you, don't show attitude." She said, "He showed me attitude, like, well, why you stop me?" Well, that's kind of thing. I wasn't speeding. And she said, and I tried to explain to him, so that was cool. She said, and the reason why I'm telling him this is because I work with some guys up there. They're literally right up the road, Hamilton Avenue. That's where they are. And she said, had this been another police officer, some of the guys that I work with, and he showed that kind of attitude, he would have had a problem. She said, tell him, do not do that. Just simply say, here's what's going on. Oh, hello, officer, what's going on? He said, find out first. Don't get all upset, before you start going into that. I appreciated that because she's so right, She's so right. We have got to be careful out here. And she was just saying it as a police officer and a friend. You got to be careful out here.
Right.
I got some colleagues, they went upside your head or cause you all kinds of trouble or pull you aside, really make it difficult for you. Don't do that, So anyhow, there's some good folks out there in those uniforms, and we can't ever forget that too. People really mean well, and people are trying to do the right thing. And then there's those brothers out in, where were they from again? Was that New York or no?
No, that was, I want to say, was that Tennessee?
Yeah, Tennessee.
Tennessee, okay. Yeah, and they were part of a special squad. Now, them guys,
group, yeah.
Bill and I talked about that earlier. They were doing some people up way before this brother was murdered. Yeah.
People are calling it a hit. Because the one officer took a picture of him and sent it to the mother of his child, which happened to work. This is what they're saying, which happened to work at the same place that Tyree Nichols did, kind of like, look at your boy now. But I believe that it's something that has happened before. But what baffles me is that one person would have this mindset, but the likelihood of one person finding 4 other people that would do the same thing and would have the same mindset. And it just seemed clear that it wasn't the first time.
No, it's not. No. And if you think you can get away with it, they showed a guy on tape, and there was a brother who stood about 6'8", and it was all white guys with him, this kind of thing. This was, I think, Chicago. And he was beating this guy up real bad. And the father came along. The father said, oh, that's my son, And it is a grown man. I mean, this man was probably like, 30. But the father came along. The father's like, what did he do? What did he do? And he's like, shut up, kind of stuff. And the white cops are standing there laughing. And the black guy was the only one doing all the beating and all this kind of stuff. And they said, he's the enforcer, this and that. Nothing happened to that guy. I'll never forget this. They had it on tape, and it was out to say Chicago, I don't know where, but they went after this guy, you know, in terms of the media and all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line was he didn't lose his job, didn't lose a pension, didn't get arrested. You know, that was back in the day, let's say the 90s, early 2000s. Now people are they're screaming and hollering, things are beginning to happen. But I'll never forget that video. And this guy, and he's up there laughing about it. And they're treating him like he's some kind of hero. And it's like, brother, you're beating up your own community. He said, I'll clean these blanks up, all the kind of stuff, you know. Just sickening, absolutely sickening. So, but we as writers, we have to tell the story, you know. Yeah, we can, you know, we love the creative stuff too, but we also have to be, you know, we have to be on it, you know, and tell the truth about it too. We don't have to lie about anything. Just tell the truth, you know. And when we expose the truth, you know, they say the truth will set you free. But now, listen, it's always great to have y'all come on, and you know, I hope that we can continue this venue. God has blessed us so well, and I would like to do a couple of things. We're putting together a calendar of events, by the way. When I say we, I'm just talking about, you know, sitting down, going over some things, and I was talking to Nicole Wilkerson, who's done a tremendous job with our programming and everything, and we decided back on Sunday when we had passed out our program, we hope to have some upcoming events of things that are happening at the State Museum. And if the State Museum can't come through for us, then we'll just take it somewhere else. But we're doing the third Sunday of the month for a lot of different events, and we'll just keep that going. And it's going to be a blast this year. I believe that this is going to be a banner year, and God's going to bless the Wordshop, and we're just going to keep on keeping on. So listen, thank you all again for coming on tonight. I don't want to hold up Brother Chris. He always does a great job for us. Thank you again, Brother Chris, for what you do. And we hope to see you, Monday, I will see you at 11 a.m. And then Wendy will see you at 6 p.m. Yes. And then I'll see you again at 8 p.m. on Thursday. And then again, the Writers Workshop at 7 p.m. on Friday. We just keep it moving, don't we? Bro, we're looking forward to that play. It's going to happen in May the 4th through the 7th. Hair Story. It's all about me. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, me too.
See you guys. Yeah. That's right. I don't want to lose it now. See you on Sunday. Okay. All right.
Okay. Be blessed.
Good night.